Hello, welcome to the Roy Rogers News Channel. Thank you so much for watching. Alright, today for our next competitive analysis, we have Darmanitan. And before we dive into Darmanitan, we must hear from our in-game sponsor, Magnezone. And he is trying to sell us some sunscreen. And we might need that for our Darmanitan competitive analysis because Darmanitan is a very hot Pokemon, and it could give you a sunburn if you're not careful. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into Magnezone's message right now. This is Magnezone, and top of the morning to you! And for today's item that I would like to sell, it would be the sunscreen. And the reason why you would like to get this at night is because if you want to beat the crowds, you might want to buy this particular sunscreen at night. Because during the day, everybody's going to be swarming me, and they're going to ask me for sunscreen. And you might be asking me, but Magnezone, why would I want to buy a sunscreen? I just want to enjoy the beach. Well, do you see all these bubbles here with 3 dots? These are people yelling in agony because they all got sunburned. Like this poor little girl here. You know, I have some intel as to what happened with this conversation. So, her mommy said, "Where's sunscreen?" And she said, "No! I'm gonna go swimming in that ocean there." Well, you got sunburned, and you should listen to your mother. Or this guy, who did not listen to his wife. His wife said, "Hey, you need sunscreen." And he said, "No, I want my Remoraid and Octillery." Well, you can get them, but now you can get them in pain because you have a sunburn. If you don't want to be like these poor people here, then feel free to get your sunscreen. And thank you so much, Grubble King, for writing that wonderful comment about me. I love you, man. You're awesome. All right. And I'm going to go back to that Roy Rogers guy so he can talk about another reason to get sunscreen. And yes, I am talking specifically to my Lodic because I thunderbolt you, and I still feel bad about it, but I would feel even worse if you were to be hit by Darmanitan. I've seen it, I've seen my Lodic be knocked out before, and man, it is painful to watch. And I thought I'm the only person that could do it. But anyways, let's go ahead and go back to that Roy Rogers guy so you can talk about Darmanitan. Alright, we are back in studio. And Magnezone has been selling sunscreen at the beach for quite some time. But you might want to get some sunscreen because this competitive analysis is about to get quite sizzly. And without further ado, let's go ahead and pop up the big computer and let's go ahead and check out Darmanitan stats. And don't get sunburned, folks. Trust me, I've been sunburned before. Let's go ahead and pop up the big screen and check out Darmanitan stats right now. So, Darmanitan's tiers owe you. Its type is fire. Its resistance are bug, steel, fire, and grass, and ice. And its weaknesses are ground, rock, and water. And Darmanitan has 2 abilities. One is Sheer Force, which is the preferred ability, and that ability removes any added effects to increase the move's damage. I can get to why Sheer Force is a pretty OP ability for Darmanitan in a moment. But first I gotta get done reading this information. Darmanitan has a hidden ability, which, fun fact, this hidden ability was the first hidden ability that was introduced to us on PokeMMO when hidden abilities debuted for us. Zen Mode, which changes the Darmanitan's form from the standard variant to the Zen Mode variant when the HP is halved. Alright, so for the base stats, I'm going to go ahead and read the normal version of Darmanitan, and then I'm going to temporarily flip it to the hidden ability Zen Mode Darmanitan base stats. And then, once I read the base stats for the Zen Mode, then I'm going to revert back to the normal Darmanitan, since that's the Darmanitan you should be using. Okay, so let's go and read the base stats right now. So, the HP for Darmanitan is 105, its attack is 140, its defense is 55, its special attack is 30, its special defense is 55, and its speed is 95. Alright, and for the sake of the completion of the basic information, Darmanitan, when it's in its Zen mode, it changes its typing from fire type to fire and psychic type. So I just wanted to note that. And for the Zen mode Darmanitan, let's go ahead and read those base stats, shall we? So the HP for Zen mode Darmanitan is 105, its attack is 30, its defense is 105, its special attack is 140, special defense is 105, and speed is 55. Alright, and now I'm going to revert back to the normal base stats for Darmanitan. And I should note that the reason why you don't want to use Zen mode Darmanitan is due to the general semantics of this ability. So, you don't really want to wait until your HP is halved to change your base stat total or have the quote-unquote surprise. Everybody knows that your base stat is going to change, and there's no real surprise factor there. I should also note with the Zen mode ability for Darmanitan, it is really hard to pull off a successful sweep with this particular Darmanitan. And my proofreader wanted me to note that Darmanitan as a whole really does benefit a lot from Sheer Force. Sheer Force is what makes this Pokemon all that more epic, and its base 140 attack stats. So without further ado, let's go and dive into Darmanitan and how great it is right now. And I should give an honorary mention to the Trick Darmanitan variant. Sweet Tea for You has mentioned to me that Trick Darmanitan is not really beneficial because you're giving up an item, and that item is also what makes or breaks Darmanitan. So you're kind of giving that up, but in some cases it does work, which is why Sweet Tea for You is giving it an honorable mention, but it shouldn't really be something that you would be doing if you don't know how to pull it off properly. Alright, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the semantics, shall we? And there's only two variants of Darmanitan that we're going to be talking about, and that is why there is no least common variant for Darmanitan. And that is the Classic Sweeper, which is the most common here. And the IVs are HP plus 25, attack is 31, its defense is plus 25, its special attack does banner, special defense is plus 25, and its speed is 31. Its EVs are 6 HP, 202 attack, and 202 speed. Its nature is Jolly, so plus speed minus attack. Its moves are Flare Blitz, Superpower, Rock Slide, and U-Turn. Its item is a Choice Scarf, and its ability is Sheer Force. Alright, and let's go ahead and dive into the items, shall we? So, the Choice Scarf, you could be able to pick a move, and the main consequence of using this item is that you're locked on that move, hence the name Choice Scarf, and you're forced to switch out if you want to choose another move. But there's an added benefit as to why you want to use Choice Scarf. Your speed stat gets boosted by plus 50%, and you can outspeed a lot of Pokemon in OU. So that is why a lot of people like to use Choice Scarf with this particular Darmanitan variant, and with the Jolly nature, so you can be able to outspeed a lot of Pokemon. Let's go ahead and talk about the moves, shall we? Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz in Sheer Force and 140 attack, I mean, you could essentially knock out a lot of Pokemon. Now this particular variant can't really knock out Milotic, unless you're in Sun, but we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. Let's go ahead and talk about Flare Blitz generally. If you're not named Milotic or any other defensive wall, then most likely you can be able to knock out a lot of Pokemon in OU. Most Pokemon can fold to Darmanitan unless you're carrying the Chandelure, but Chandelure is a rare variant in OU. And if you're having problems with Chandelure, then I would highly recommend that you invest in a Porygon 2, so you can be able to trace that Flash Fire, which could essentially make Chandelure null and void. And you can also be able to wall the Shadow Ball. I forget walling. You're completely immune to Shadow Ball since you are normal type, so you essentially shut down Chandelure's 2 stab attacks. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, and we're talking about Darmanitan, so I have to make this video about Darmanitan, but I thought it should be noted that if you're having Chandelure issues, that's a good way to fix those issues. Alright, and then we have Superpower. Superpower is 120 base attack, and it lowers down the attack and defense stat by -1. But you can always switch in and out to neutralize that, but just keep that in mind. And this move is good for Pokemon like Tyranitar or Blissey or something like that. And then you have Rock Slide. I did not mince my words here. There's some people that ask about Stone Edge. The reason why you want Rock Slide is because Rock Slide can take advantage of the Sheer Force ability. Why? Because Rock Slide has a chance of flinching your opponent. Remember, Sheer Force, you exchange added effects for more damage. So that means that moves like Flare Blitz it won't burn your opponent because you're swapping out the added effect for more damage output. Rock Slide, you won't be able to flinch your opponent because you are exchanging the flinch chance for the sheer force damage output. So that is why people like Rock Slide over Stone Edge for Darmanitan. And then you have U-Turn. U-Turn is a move that you can use and you can switch in and out, and it's really good for Pokemon with choice items. So that way, when you're locked in a certain choice item, you don't have to forfeit your move, or you have to forfeit a turn by switching in and out. You can still damage your opponent, use U-Turn, and switch out. Feel free to do that if you would like to scout your opponent. Alright, and now it's time for the full power Darm. And you're essentially trading speed for absolute damage output. You're going to start killing things left and right. And I've done this before and it's a lot of fun. And I've been a victim of this before and it wasn't so fun. So let's go ahead and dive into the full power Darm right now. It feels almost like the Power Rangers. IVs. HP plus 25. Attack is 31. Defense is plus 25. Special attack doesn't matter. Special defense is plus 25. Its speed is 31. Its EVs are 6 HP, 252 attack, and 252 speed. Its nature is adamant, so plus attack minus special attack. Its moves are Flare, Blitz, Superpower, Rock Slide, and U-Turn. Its item is a Choice Band, and its ability is Sheer Force. Nothing really new here, except for Choice Band. Choice Band, you were to be using a move, and you'd have to switch in and out. But the only difference is that you get a plus 50% boost to your attack stat. Say goodbye to my Milotic, because my Milotic is going to die. And I've had a lot of fun killing my Milotics before with this particular variant of Darmanitan. And it gets outsped by several Pokemon, and that's the only main downside to this Darmanitan. If you're into clicking a one-hit KO move every time and seeing Pokemon fold, Pokemon like Milotic, Blissey, Chansey, it can essentially knock out a lot of Pokemon. And even Cofagrigus, you can be able to catch Cofagrigus on the switch, and then you could do Flare Blitz and then hit it again, and it's a 2-hit KO. Cofagrigus is going down with a 2-hit KO with a lot of other Pokemon. Milotic is going down to a Flare Blitz Choice Band. Oh yeah, this is so much fun just doing a full power Darm. And that's why our salesman Magnezone felt so bad for the Milotic, because Darmanitan's Flare Blitz, it's gonna die to one Flare Blitz. And if you doubt full power Darm's power even without Sun, then yeah, I mean, I feel really bad for you. Like I said, I've used Darmanitan before in this capacity, and it is a lot of fun. The math completely changes if Darmanitan is in Sun. If it is in Sun, and if it has Choice Band and Adamant, forget about it. Your Cofagrigus is dying. I mean, there's no way Cofagrigus is going to live this. Now, Cofagrigus may be able to pull out its ability Mummy and be able to force Darmanitan to adopt that ability, but Darmanitan can just switch in and out, and then that Mummy ability can be nullified. And it's going back to sheer force, and this Darmanitan is going to go and kill things. I mean, it is going to absolutely slaughter the meta. And now with Venusaur having Chlorophyll, I mean, we're talking about more Sun tools that are accessible to the PvP scene. Now, this is not saying that Venusaur can go into OU, because there's still several things that Venusaur needs to address, but Venusaur is certainly a nice option for anyone that would like to use Chlorophyll Sweepers, or Leafeon as well. Leafeon is a really nice option as well, but then again, you have a lot of issues in OU in terms of Sun Team. But Darmanitan is the one Pokemon that makes the Sun Team worth your time. I mean, Venusaur and Leafeon are certainly nice, but Darmanitan is really nice. And you can go in there and absolutely wipe the floor with almost anything in OU. Man, this Pokemon is really exciting to talk about. So, pardon me for my excitement, but this Darmanitan is so nice, especially in today's meta. Darmanitan, man, it is going to absolutely slaughter a lot of the meta. And then in Sun, against Cofagrigus, Adamant, Choice Band, forget about it. Cofagrigus is down. It is fainting. The end. No more Cofagrigus. Let's go ahead and shut down this computer. And as a note, maybe you might want to get some sunscreen by our friend Magnezone. I mean, you might need it. But before I close out the segment, as per the usual, I'm going to go ahead and show you a breeding tool, just in case you're thinking, I really want some egg moves for my Darmanitan. Alright, this is the egg move index that I would like to show you, and let's go ahead and type in Darmanitan, shall we? So Darmanitan is a field egg group. In this case, you're interested in some of these egg moves, feel free to check them out. Now, of note, there's no real egg moves here that you really need on Darmanitan. But just in case you're interested in these egg moves, there you go. And I go and link this breeding tool down in the description below, just in case you're thinking of breeding a Pokemon. And just do the Control F feature if you're on laptop, or if you're on mobile, you can do the 3 dots at the top right and just find a page, type in the Pokemon you're interested in, and then you'll be able to check out the egg moves here. So feel free to check that out. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for watching. This is the Roy Rogers News Channel. Don't forget to comment and subscribe to the channel like the content that you see here. And this is the Roy Rogers News Channel, signing off. Fast, accurate, and biased, Roy Rogers News.